Julius LeBlanc Stewart, an American artist, was born in Philadelphia in 1855 to a family of privilege. His father was able to accumulate his fortune in the sugar business, which enabled his son the luxury to pursue his dreams of becoming an artist. This would entail the move to Paris just 10 years later in 1865. His father was also an avid art collector, so much so that he would frequently host guests at his home to view the impressive collection. It was therefore the task of his father to find the best painters for Julius to study with, leading him to the studio of Eduardo Zamacqua as a youth, then under Jean-Léon Gérôme at the École des Beaux-Arts, and later at the studio of Raimondo de Madrazo. Soon afterward he exhibited regularly at the Paris Salon from 1878 into the 20th century. His generosity led him to organize the Americans in Paris section of the 1894 Salon. Julius Stewart's personal studio was set up thoughtfully, allowing ample light into the studio from above with large glass structures overhead and cloth draperies to soften the light as needed. Figure and portrait paintings would have the air of being bathed in light. Artists by the mid to late 19th centuries eventually developed the ability and technical know-how to overcome the challenges and difficulties of painting outdoors, in particular, the figure. It is easy to think how one would tackle composing the picture outdoors at the outset, but nature has its own way of suggesting the better options of light, mood, and method to make it all work. In the admirable picture, The Glade, we find it dramatic in feeling and broadly executed. In Monsieur Stewart's works, it is true also of his other compositions, nearly always marked by a certain balance and feeling for decorative effect, a style, which is generally more satisfactory to our eyes than the chance combinations of nature, though it must be admitted that nature is constantly presenting us with splendidly composed arrangements. With regard to the quality of style, that undefinable but very positive artistic quality, it is doubtless true that the older artists preserved much more of it. Monsieur Camille Corot comes to mind here. Stewart's figures painted in the open air are therefore a search for effects, the combination of colour and form working together through his own unique vision. Idealized they are, but it's in the very decorative element that they are altogether pleasing in overall effect. Julius Stewart was not entirely preoccupied with the outdoor figure work. He painted fashionable ladies and costumed women in his studio as one would paint a still life, almost as though practicing his skills with drapery and clothing. He had the luxury to paint whatever moved him, and to find subjects to pose in his bathed-in-light glass studio. Julius Stewart made his own path, in his own way.